This Sportz Blitz podcast is brought to you by LMG. Grow your business through logo design, paper products, and video production. Visit leemarketing.net to learn more.
Andy Graham on the phone with us here, as he is every week during the Auburn Blitz segment. Andy, thanks for joining us.
It's getting better and better to be here every week.
Yes, it is. A lot better than last year, that's for sure. Again, don't know really any other way to say it, as you just saw the locker room celebration with Coach Malzahn and the team going on the road, Kyle Field in College Station, and beating Johnny Manziel and the Texas A&M Aggies 45-41. One of the biggest, if not the biggest win for Auburn since the 2010 season.
Absolutely. I just want to go on record as saying, I said on this show last week Auburn would win 45-43. Let's roll the tape. Oh, wait, we don't have tape. Okay. Take my word for it. I thought maybe there was something in the air. Obviously, Auburn matched up well with Texas A&M running the ball, and Texas A&M defense being the worst against the run. It was a good matchup for Auburn. The question was, could we outlast them, because you knew Johnny Manziel was going to put up points. And I thought, we had maybe scored a little too soon. I'm sure that it was I was like everybody else, and it was a collective cry from the Auburn people as Marcus Davis caught that pass and got down to the red zone for Texas A&M, and we run up to the line, run the play as quick as we can, and I'm sitting saying, "Slow down," But it's just a phenomenal win, and Auburn jumps all the way to number 11. What's going on this season? It's hard to explain. It's hard to put into words, but I'm just going to sit back and go along for the ride.
That's exactly right. I think as we had Quentin Riggins on Sports Call today, Andy, that's what he said. You need to cherish where you are with it. Luke said it about Alabama before. Look, you're not going to win like this forever. You better take it back and enjoy it instead of becoming complacent about it. But, I'll say this, and we didn't bring this up today, but Johnny Manziel's got to be a little frustrated because he gets no help. This guy puts up unbelievable numbers. He scores in the 40s every week, and his daggum defense is giving up as many points as he's scoring. He's got to be scratching his head going, if we just had a half of a defense, we'd be killing everybody. The same against Alabama, the same against us at Auburn. Johnny Manziel's got to be the guy, and Mike Evans has got to be the guy over on the offensive side of football going, man, what are we doing defensively?
Yeah, and he's got a lot in common, though. A lot of players, a lot of teams have this problem. That's why it's so difficult to gain success, especially in the SEC. You got to be very good on both sides of the ball. But defenders have gone through this for quite a while. Think about Florida and the trouble. Those defenders are playing their heart out, and at least they were before the Missouri game. But you go out there and you have a stop, and you have a stop, and you have a stop, but your offense does absolutely nothing to help you out, and you end up losing games, 7-3. But I don't have a lot of sympathy for John, but I understand where you're coming from, and yes, I would definitely think that whole offensive team is very frustrated at the moment.
Yeah, ironically, I think Johnny Manziel did nothing but add to his legacy somehow, some way. He gets hurt, and when they showed the replay, it looked like it was pretty significant. He goes into the locker room, and then the backup comes in and looks like he had never played football before. So they just took some kind of brontosaurus-sized tranquilizer and shot Johnny up in that shoulder and got him going back in there. I couldn't believe he could throw the ball, and I thought, well, he's going to throw a pick. He was still picture perfect on his passes. It was
6 for 6 on that
It was
drive.
Unbelievable. And, the frustration's got to be real, because you do look over there, and people said all the time about, and me included, about Cam Newton and one-man army, et cetera. But Cam had Nick Fairley, and without Nick Fairley, Auburn doesn't win all those games. And I think you're seeing now that you need at least a Nick Fairley to help you out defensively. Texas A&M could never, under any circumstance, get a stop. And if they had left 20 seconds on the clock, Auburn might have scored again.
Well, that's exactly right. And Andy, Luke talks about Nick Fairley, and even John, Bynes at linebacker, who was a pretty good linebacker, and some guys on that defense that helped Cam Newton out. Cam Newton didn't lose a football game at Auburn. John Manziel lost to LSU last year. He loses now to Alabama and Auburn. And this year, the season's not over. Will he continue to play? How hurt is he? That just shows you can outscore to a certain point, but there's going to come a time you're not going to play that well. And I'm not saying Johnny Manziel didn't play really well. He did. He still had a phenomenal completion percentage. He threw for 400 and something yards and had 3 or 4 touchdowns. But bottom line is he did throw 2 interceptions that cost them 2 drives. He had to go out, so they only kicked a field goal there. So Auburn was able to take advantage of some situations. And you're right. You've got to have some semblance of defense at some point in time if you're going to run the table.
Oh, definitely. And, I think Mike Evans is his other guys. Unfortunately, he plays on the same side of the ball. But those two together are unstoppable. I'm like you. I agree with you, Luke. I think that probably added to his, legend for him to go into the locker room and mysteriously come back out and be able to throw the ball like he did, because he couldn't even throw it 10 feet on the sideline. But I don't know what they gave him, but I want some of it. It has to be, like you've been saying, frustrating for them, and they're not going to stop anybody for this year. I think it's maybe an indictment on the spread offense, the new kind of way football is moving to an offensive game. I don't think Texas A&M practices defense. I know they run through the plays and everything like that, but I don't think they hit in practice defensively because they don't want to get Johnny hurt. They don't want to get their other big receivers hurt. And you can obviously tell it because they can't tackle. They're as soft as any SEC defense I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're not very good at all. And when Johnny Manziel leaves College Station next year, this team is not going to be very good. And I said it several weeks ago before all this, I think right after the Alabama game, is that if you take Johnny Manziel off this team right now, I don't know how many wins they have. I don't know who they've beaten right now.
And somebody's got to explain to me why they're an 18-point favorite over a Vandy team that just beat Georgia, too. And Vandy's not your granddaddy or your older brother's Vandy team either. And then if Johnny Manziel can't play, I don't like Texas A&M to beat anybody in this country. Florida Atlantic, Georgia State, any of them by 18 points.
Vanderbilt is playing with a backup quarterback.
But if Johnny Manziel isn't playing, then Texas A&M, they're going to wish they had Vandy's backup quarterback.
Yeah, Jokel did not impress me too much in his one series.
Well, and Kevin Sumlin's got to really ponder this situation because, he's been talked about as one of the hottest coaches and all. Oh, yeah, Gene Chizik looked great because he had Cam Newton. When Cam Newton left Auburn, we found out really the true Gene Chizik. And we don't know about Kevin Sumlin, but let's move on, Andy, before we go to break and talk about this coming up Saturday. Auburn out of conference again, a much-needed game, I think, coming off a huge emotional win. Texas A&M, again, you think we'll see a little bit more Jeremy Johnson this week?
I hope so. I hope Nick plays the first half and does what we thought he was going to do against Western Carolina, come in, work on his passing game a little bit, just work on that intermediate, try to work out some slants and things like, just try to work on what he's struggled with this year because he throws a pretty deep ball and he runs the bubble screens really well and he's getting much better and better with a read option. That's the one thing I don't want to see him run the ball hardly at all because you just cannot take a chance on him getting hurt. But I fully expect to see Jeremy Johnson for the second half.
Well, Andy, good stuff, man. Again, a big win for Auburn. Makes us all feel better. And again, already 6-1 this year. That doubles our win total from last year. So this has been a lot more enjoyable segment. I know Dane Sharp is enjoying it as well. He's our segment sponsor here on the Auburn Blitz and the hotline here. But, Andy, I'll catch up with you on Friday for more Sports Call.
I look forward to it.
Thanks so much. That's Andy Graham, Auburn Blitz segment and co-host of Sports Call with me and Randy Lee on Tuesdays and Fridays. We'll be back at it on Sports Call Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Make sure you join us on 93.9, the sister station of 95.9, which this program's airing on right now in the Auburn, Opelika area. We're going to take a break, Luke. We come back, we'll talk a little bit more about college football from this past week, shift our focus to the Alabama Crimson Tide and what they were able to do against Arkansas, and this game against Tennessee coming up could be a little bit more intriguing than a lot of people thought at the beginning of the year at least. At least Tennessee is somewhat playing better, but I still don't think it's going to be enough to be competitive with Alabama. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Sports Blitz presented by JR's Ness & Ness Tire right after this.